Hey everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker, greatest screenwriter in the history of the world, recovering hobo. Now coming to you from my third apartment in 2 months. I left my Koreatown apartment, went to West LA. Things went haywire with the roommate there, who wanted me to leave because I did not love her, basically. And now I'm in another apartment in West LA. And after sleeping about 45 minutes last night, I realized I can't stay here. So this has been challenging, painful, lonely. And what am I talking about? So over my shoulder here, you'll see that there's not really a window. There's a bunch of cardboard. And behind the cardboard is a bunch of plastic bags. And I'm not trying to talk too loud, by the way, because my roommate down the hall, he's a really nice guy. He's cool. He's sleeping. And the thing is, I put this up here. You heard a vehicle go by. I live by two major arterial roads, and I lived by them before at West LA and in Koreatown. Well, something about the dynamic here, being in an alley right here, a high-speed road there, the sound just bounces off. It sounds like I'm going to be run over. Now, here's the thing about this stuff here. I didn't quite realize when I came in, there's a screen here. There's no actual glass. There's no window here. You cannot shut a window here. This glass does not move. And I didn't think to test that out when I came here. So what was painful and debilitating for me and just lonely was the fact that I could not sleep because I was hearing cars. Sounded like they were running through the living room, basically. And I was up, I was like, screw it, I'll do this. I cut up the box, I got my trifold mattress in, and the bag it came in too, taped it all over, and then taped this over. Maybe does a modicum to reduce the noise levels. But psychologically, it's like, I can't tolerate it when if you hear the cars like, zooming by. It's just such a stressful, unpleasant sensation, and for whatever reason it hits here as opposed to in Koreatown. Koreatown, there was a lot more slowed traffic, and I was on a residential street. Here, I'm on the big arterial road, two of them. And so there was that, and I couldn't sleep, and it was painful and lonely because I'm like, oh crap, like it's stressful as hell. Like I'm trying to sleep, my body's trying to, but I'm waking up after 15 minutes. I slept maybe 45 minutes last night, and it just started making me, wonder. Like, first of all, I was having anxiety. Like I literally woke up nearly in like a panic attack, feeling like a car was buzzing me right by my ear. The other thing is, notice this carpet is, can you, wait, you're just gonna look at my crotch if I do that. Covered in white stuff. That's something I did. Cocaine, no. The carpet, apparently it was stained badly a while ago by a roommate who lived here, and it had never been cleaned. So before I moved in, the roommate did like shampoo the car or run a like carpet shampooer over it, but it has it's like, it smells like a forest floor. This thing, whatever is growing in this carpet is not going away. So I poured a bunch of baking soda all over it, and I'll vacuum it up later. But that smell, it's not even like a horrible smell, it's just lying on the floor. It's like right there in my nose. And that is so stressful, and it reminds me of the night I went homeless. I was gonna sleep in the basement of this guy who worked at Safeway, who I met and said, oh, I'll love it. It'll be the best place I've slept in, on the couch in his basement. It smells so bad. He openly told, he had a screw loose, openly told me he let neighborhood, wild cats in and stray cats, and they would just shit everywhere, and that's what I was smelling. And I was also worried that, like, first of all, the couch was not comfortable, the basement was not finished, it was creepy like a dungeon. He was a nice guy, he wasn't going to do anything to me, but I was worried, like, thinking, like, whatever gets in the air from this cat shit is gonna, like, damage my heart and lungs if I breathed it in enough. And that night, I remember, went out to my car and slept, because I was planning on maybe sleeping on his couch while I was homeless for a while, and then I just realized, oh, I have to sleep in my car. And I had that inkling again, even though I don't have a car now, of will I have to resort to something like that? Because it was hellish, and the feelings that crept over me were like, oh, I'm a failure, I'm a loser, nobody likes me. I was just panicking, thinking like I'm fat, I'm ugly, I was going through all this stuff, and I seriously, and I'm telling you this because I believe there is power in relinquishing my own ego and not protecting me, protecting myself from exposing my frailties to others. I think there's power in that, in giving you every opportunity to judge me, to think I'm foolish, stupid, weak, embarrassing. I think there's power in that. So there was a moment where just the emotion hit me this morning. I think as I was going to the kitchen to make breakfast, and even the kitchen and that, they got to replace all the cabinets here. They're like, oh, it musty too. And I used up like 2.5 rolls of paper towels to clean up a bunch of stuff. And I had a thought for a second, like, I just want to go home to my mom's house. Like, I just want to go sleep there. Like, she'll make things okay. But I immediately thought, I'm a 38-year-old man. Like, as hard as this weight hits me, I have to push with even greater resistance. So I talked to my mom, and she was kind of scared for me, and also telling me all her, it's always a difficult conversation. She's like, well, oh, you shouldn't have moved there, Angelo. I'm like, well, what is your point? Why are you telling me that? Anyways, I don't want to yell. My roommate's trying to sleep. So I was telling her, if there's a 25-pound weight coming down on me, I have to push with 50 pounds of force back. And somehow I did it when I was homeless. And I have to not let this, just be this sad thing. And the other thing is, it's not like a life-ruining thing. It's not a devastating thing. I get so worried, scared, thinking, oh, this is going to be horrible for me. It's going to damage my health. And yeah, lack of sleep will, and it's like torture. And, oh, I don't feel like I fit here. I belong. Like, what am I doing? Will I ever find... There's a part of me that's like, I'll never find a good place, But I thought, rather than let that get me down, I have to let this put me in communion with other people who are suffering through bad housing, no housing. I was there. I was homeless for 2.5 years. And the way it's cyclical, the way being homeless keeps like going a little, it's like it starts here, the effect it has on my life, and it loops a little bit further forward, and it comes back on me like, whoa, it's coming right behind me, and reminds me more and more about that experience and how what I'm going through now reflects on it. This chair is uncomfortable too. Oh man, it is not a good height for the computer I have over here. It's like too high. So I thought, okay, I have to let it put me in communion with other people who are suffering, because they're people who are living in squalor from slumlords, which the landlord here can't be all that great, but and people who are in far worse conditions. You talk about a smell here. I'm sure being in prison smells bad. Being in a prison camp, being in a prisoner of war camp, a refugee camp, all kinds of stuff, slums, like, people have it bad. And it was like a little check for myself, like, Angelo, don't think you're so alone and you have it so bad, and oh, it's the worst of what it's like. Also, I've been through a lot of, dark times, sad times. I don't even like calling them that, but times that challenged me, that really pushed me, and I had to be determined to not let it just push me into pleasure seeking and just victimizing myself, soothing my own wounded ego, being like, no, I'm going to be the guy who has the answers. I'm going to be the guy that I need in my life, who's got the answers that I seek, who's got abundance, who's got an ability to connect with others and give. So to that end, I realized, like, I don't care that I just moved here. I have to look for another place. That's one thing, because I know they're not going to just rip out this whole thing and put a new window here because I'm saying I can't sleep. I'll talk about it and see, but also the carpet needs to go, and I don't know what else. So that and there's like other stuff too. It makes it hard to sleep, but yeah, I just realized like what's squalor, and also how it emphasizes for me how much we've destroyed our quality of life and our cities to make way for cars and the auto industry, and overpaying for these over-engineered pieces of junk to make executives rich at Ford and Chevrolet and Toyota and Audi, Nissan, who else? Fiat, Chrysler. That's all I can think of right now. Jaguar, Mercedes. For these antisocial, like, houses on wheels that cut you off from everybody. And I was riding in a car yesterday and I was thinking about, this is so unpleasant. It's so stressful. I'd much rather be connected to everybody out on the street, on my bike or on foot or taking public transportation. So I'm like, well, this is the time to actually do the thing I said I was about and step up and push back with greater resistance than what is being put onto me. So what that means is, yeah, like if I can't sleep, getting up, doing something like this, being proactive. I used up 2 rolls of masking tape for this. They were already kind of used up. It means eating right, exercising, planning out my day. I got to do my screenwriting. I didn't get any writing done yesterday because I moved in here and I spent all day unpacking my stuff, cleaning. I had to get some groceries. And know that this is not a disaster. It feels like it. Just when intellectually things shut off and I just go by what I feel, it feels like a disaster. Like, oh no, I am in a situation I don't know how I got in this, and I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. But the reality is I do know how I got in it, and I do know how I'm going to get out of it. And I also know if I say I'm going to be a guy who's going to get through challenges, it doesn't mean fake challenges, little ones, like no big deal. Like, oh yeah, well, it didn't really challenge me. No, it's going to be the times like this when I honestly think sometimes, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. Will the next place I get be better? Will I go broke trying to find a place? Will the next place I move in, will something be even worse there? Will it be a worse neighborhood? What will the case be? Will something else go wrong? Will I lose my job? Will my writing be undermined? On and on. And also just, I want to have a social life. I want to be out. I'm thinking, my goodness. And this is just being real, about who I am. Like, I haven't really, been out with women in a long time, in years. I've been, homeless and focused on so much stuff about trying to be well, and it's just such a realignment. And nothing inherently bad about that. I'm where I need to be. But there was even part of that hitting me too, where I don't like thinking of myself that way. Like, oh, I'm a failure. Why don't I have a girlfriend I can go stay with right now to support me? I'm like, if I had one, there would still be problems. This would still be an issue. She would have her own life to deal with. I have to still be the person with the answers that I seek. So I have to work from that place of abundance, and can't be comforting myself with those thoughts of victimizing myself, which I used to just run to, and I didn't even know it. But now I have these tools that it's like, okay, it's not going to be a default. I feel it's by default, I'm not just going to feel good like a lot of times I kind of do with my routine. I'm actually going to have to prove that there's a chance I will not feel good and that I will feel crushed, but that I'm going to push beyond it and make this like blind leap across a chasm, because I believe that's the only way to land in a new spot, a better place. And again, I'm just talking about living in kind of a crummy apartment, but it's torture not being able to sleep. And the other good thing too is my roommate, super cool, like nice guy. So I'm gonna talk to him today and see like what can we do. This is just me being open about what I'm going through. Like we've got the situation with the window, the carpet. Like what are my options here? Because I have to consider moving. I'm strongly considering that, and just as respect to him, to give him a chance to, criticize me, or he won't criticize me, but like give him a chance to reject me and to really see me open up. And I think that's an opportunity. First of all, that's a show of respect to him, that I'm giving him that opportunity. I'm not like trying to hide, configure myself in a way so it's like I don't want him to see that, yeah, this bothers me, this troubles me, and that as soon as I came, I'm thinking about moving. And I know he wouldn't inherently like that, even if he understands it. But giving him the chance to show his character and say, okay, I understand. I'll see what I can do, because he's the one on the lease. I'm just subletting from him. Or if he says, try and patch up to something for now that works until you leave, at least with the window. I don't know what the options are. I've seen like window inserts you can put in. That's gonna be such a hassle to try and do, and it's like, why bother? And also I'd have to remove something from it. It's not that there's no glass, it's like slats, like this, almost like curtains, but turn them this way. And there's a crank where you can sort of get them together. Man, my hand is dark from biking so much, and then the rest of my arm is not from wearing my jacket. But it's not blocking out the sound. It's not sealing off the window. It's just literally, it's like there to like block the wind from blowing in. And that little thing, and realizing the scent here is bothering me, it's like, oh, that's torture. So I can't let that get to me as much as I feel, it will. And I realize I can probably move the laptop to the living room. Maybe I can right there, and the desk will be a better height with this chair. We'll see if I can fit this chair there. But that's what I'm up against. This thing brought into focus, my feelings of failure about where I'm living, where I'm at, even with women. Thinking, oh my goodness, barely had any involvement with women in years now. It's like, well, that was also a choice. That wasn't just something that happened to me. And like I said, there's no fantasy land to live in as far as that goes. Like, you're dealing with a human being with their own concerns and problems, and who cannot rescue you from anything. So I have to be the one with the answers that I seek. I have to be well, and in a manner, like, take responsibility for everything. Don't act like this is something happening to me. This is something happening for me, and that I chose on some level. Even if I didn't choose, crappy landlords and cars destroying neighborhoods, the auto industry bulldozing homes to build these ugly roads that poison our lungs and bloodstreams. But I'm choosing who I am right now. So that's the reality. As soon as I came in here, I'm already planning on moving, and I just have to make the most of it for my character. Talk openly with my roommate, give him a chance to, level up his character, in that he's going to have a chance, have a choice. Like, do I react well to Angelo or poorly? And give him that choice. I'm sure he'll react well. I mean, he's a nice guy. We get along. But I know it's not a great thing to have a roommate want to leave, and it could make him question, oh, is this a personal thing? Is inadequacy on my part? And the reality is, it's stuff out of our control. And, it's an opportunity is what it is, to do even better, to be more. And I've had them before. When I was homeless, man, I remember some nights, especially early on, the desperation, the loneliness I felt. Talk about feelings of failure then. Just wanting to cry at like how broke I was, and sleeping in the cold, and thinking, what are my prospects? Because I didn't even think I'd go to LA for months after I went homeless in Virginia. And thinking my life was so messed up by that point, but I knew I'm doing something empowering for myself and important for myself. And that's what I have to do now. Now, I can't just be homeless. I can't just say, oh, well, I'm homeless. That's how it is. It's like, no, I'm housed, and now I'm having to navigate this whole new problem of housing in LA, which just emphasizes even more for me how important it is we decommodify housing. No more landlords, no more bosses. We, by decommodifying housing, we untie it from our work, which makes it harder for employers to exploit us because uh, they can't expect us to be desperate for work or we'll lose our homes and our cars. And that's another thing, public transportation, to let people get around without cars and get around safely and comfortably. So that's what I'm up against right now. And it's like, wow, what a new challenge. It's like a Rubik's Cube. That's how I think of stuff like this, a Rubik's Cube, and just turning the whole thing over on its side. And it's like, oh, you see a whole new side to this thing now. And now you have to contend with that. You have to deal with that. And there's something exciting in that. I'm like, well, greater the tragedy, greater the triumph. And the scary thing is, the tragedy's not fake. It's real. The feelings of failure are real. The feelings of inadequacy are real. It's not like, oh, I'll skip past that and just feel the triumph. It's like, no, it really does feel like failure right now. And like, I'm alone. I have nothing. I was seriously like scared like this morning, like, oh, I'm getting so fat or whatever. And that's not true. I'm going to try and cut, on my weight though. And now I have a shorter commute to work, which actually kind of makes it easier if I'm biking less to work. I guess it should, because when I was biking 4 miles and before that 6 miles to work, yeah, I'm burning a lot of calories, but I had to eat so much to keep my energy up. And it was hard to dial in that nutrition level where I could cut on fat but still have energy to bike. So now this will be much easier with biking a much shorter distance to work. It should be, at least. We'll see. So I got to get going. I got lots of stuff to do. I got to get a better chair, or yeah, I just want to get a nice cheap chair from somewhere. So thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think. My hair turned into like a mullet now by the end of this video. And I just made this like I want to be in communion with people who are suffering and going through bad housing, no housing, and you make this an opportunity when it does hurt, when it doesn't feel like an opportunity. That's exactly when it's most important. And again, I got to speak softly. My roommate's just other side of the wall from me, basically. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Click like on the video, helps me. I'm trying to make more YouTube videos. People have been watching them lately, so trying to make more. Let me know who you are. I don't know who all these hundreds of people are who watch some of my videos. No idea who most of you are. And let's build a community. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep you all updated. All right, bye.